ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Application the prayer verses.
Yes, Swamiji. Om Bhadram Karne Vishuriyam Devaha Bhadram Bhakshimakshavirgajatraha Dhirairangai Sutvagusastanuvihi Veshemehitam Devahitam Yadayu Swastina Indro Vridrasravaha Swastina Usha Vishwavedaha Swastina Sraksho Arishtanevi Swastino Brahspanirdadadu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Okay, so last time we saw the first 4 or 5 verses where he was dismissing both the dream and the waking as mithya. Okay. Drishyatvat, main argument. Okay. Any questions, clarification on this? Or is it fine? We can go ahead. Okay, so I assume there are no questions. Now, between waking and dream, you may argue one is more real, one is less real. Okay. In the unreal, there can be degrees. In the mithya, there can be degrees. In satyam, which is abhaditam, there cannot be degrees. Why?
Which is true.
Because degrees means there's change.
Ekam Advitiyam. That is only one.
There is only one. It's unconditioned by time and space. To have degrees, you need to be in time and space. That's why I said abhaditam satyam. In what is abhaditam, is timelessness. If it is not conditioned by time and space, you cannot have ups and downs in it. Cannot have degrees. Okay. In what is under time and space, there can be degrees, etc. Then we saw the 5th verse last time, right? That prasiddheneva hetuna, dream and waking both are real. Now in the next verse, he gives a very, very important role of interpretation actually. Okay? For deciding satyam mithya, etc. Adav ante yan nasti vartamane pi tat tatha vaityatas sadrisha santaha vidita eva lakshita. Adav ante cha, the beginning and the end. Yan nasti, what is not there. Vartamane pi tat tatha. Even in between, when it seems to exist, it is not really there. In the beginning, there is only water. Then a wave comes up. It dies down, there is only water. Beginning and end, only water. So when the wave exists, does it displace the water? Is there a wave other than water? I'm not talking of this wave, okay? Therefore, vartamanepi tat tatha. In the beginning, there was cloth. Then there came a kurta. Afterwards, it goes back into being cloth, it gets torn. So the maid cuts it up and uses it for dusting. All there is only cloth there. Beginning there was cloth, ending there is cloth. In between, when the kurta exists, also what is there? Cloth. You've given it a shape, a name, a form. Correct or not? So, Adavanto yan nasti, the beginning and end, what is not there. Vartamanepi, even when the thing comes into existence, tat tatha, it is as good as not being there. In the beginning, what was there? What? Sadeva somedam agramasi ekameva advitiyam brahma. Then all this thing came. Finally, pralaya, there's only one, advitiyam brahman. So in between when the creation is there, what is there? Only Brahman is there. And what are the other things you sing? Nama Rupa. Which is what? Dependent on Brahman. The moment you say Nama Rupa, the moment you say a name and form, it has to depend on a substance. Nama Rupa Guna Kriya Sambandha, all of them has to depend upon a substratum, on a vastu. That vastu is the reality. That's why when you are defining an object, what are you really defining? You're only defining qualities. You're only defining qualities, nothing else. You're not defining an object. You're not defining an object, you're only defining qualities. Like, for example, let us take fundamental objects. Okay? Not a table which is made of wood or an ornament which is made of gold. That's very easy. Let us take gold itself. Fundamental. Define it. Whatever definition you will give will be qualities. Atomic weight, chemical composition, properties like good conductor of electricity, etc., malleability, luster. What is all that? Gunas. So what you call gold becomes what? A guna. So what is the ultimate substratum of gold has to be? Something which is not gold. No? Because if gold are gunas, that guna has to exist in a locus. Correct? Gunas have to exist in a locus. That means without these, before these gunas or after these gunas or without these gunas, what is the locus? With respect to these gunas, nirgunam. So the qualities of gold should exist in a locus which is not gold. Correct?
Bit confused by this, Swamiji.
Beg your pardon?
A bit confused, Swamiji.
Okay. Let us say all the qualities that we have defined of gold, they are only qualities. Atomic weight, atomic structure, qualities. Malleability, good conductor of electricity, lustrous, etc., qualities. Correct? All these are qualities. Qualities don't exist by themselves. No? When you say black, black cloth, black paint, there has to be a substance. There has to be a locus. So qualities exist in a locus. Or you'll have to say, there is no object other than the qualities. So we will have to say then, what is intrinsic quality, what is extrinsic qualities. Certain qualities seems to come and go, certain qualities seems to be permanent. So the permanent qualities we will call Swarupa, its nature. So when you are talking of gold, I am talking about the permanent qualities now. Swarupa of gold. Atomic weight, this, that, etc. is Swarupa of gold. I am not talking about the ornaments you make out of it. Now, Therefore, if all these qualities are existing in the locus, that locus is independent of these qualities. If you are making the difference between, this is important, if you are making the difference between a substance and qualities, if you are making the difference, then the locus has to be free from the qualities. And when the locus gets these qualities, it becomes golden. It appears as gold. Now the problem is, we have not seen the substratum of gold without gold. Without the qualities gold, we have not seen the substratum. That's why this doubt is coming. How is it possible? So for all practical purposes, the qualities and the substance is one and the same. But the moment you say they are qualities, then you need to have a locus. Because a quality always needs to have a locus. So gold has to have a locus which is free from goldness. Though really speaking, when you say gold, you are implying goldness, isn't it? Little bit of tarka coming in is good. It prepares your mind. When you say gold, you are talking of all the properties together. Now, goldness you are talking about. When you are talking of a cow, you are talking of cowness. Yeah, goldness is intrinsic to the gold, because there is no goldness without gold. But when you are talking of gold, we are talking in general terms. We are not talking about a particular biscuit or a particular ornament. So actually, when you are saying gold, we are implying all the qualities that make gold gold. All the qualities that make a cow cow. All the qualities that make a human being a human being. And if they are all qualities, what is the locus? Look at it globally. Nirgunam Brahman will have to be the locus. Because totality now. Now it depends. I am using the Tarka standpoint. Now there can be a standpoint where you say qualities and substance are one and the same. That's a different argument altogether. Okay. Then I'll have to say you don't have a substance apart from the qualities. Then you'll have to say existence is a quality. Which is the way science follows. Existence becomes a quality. Then there is nothing like pure existence. Then you are saying without Nama Rupa there is no existence. But you find that without Nama Rupa also there are existence. A pot is a Nama Rupa. You break the pot, there is still existence. No? The clay. Conceptually you go. The whole technology is trying to go into the fundamental matter. No? Fundamental substance. Free from the qualities of the previous one. That's the pursuit. So we jump the gun and saying, what is there is nothing but Nirgunam. Everything else is what? Adav ante yan nasti. It is not there in the beginning, it is not there in the end. Therefore, vartamane ipi nasti. Vartamani ipi tathaiva cha. When it exists also, it is not there. Where is the kurta apart from the cloth? Before, kurta was not there, only a few meters of cloth was there. Later on also there will be only cloth. In between kurta. Where does the kurta exist apart from the cloth? Therefore, vartamane api. Even now, what is there is only cloth. You have given it a form and therefore a name. There is no substance there apart from cloth. So the word kurta does not have a substance other than cloth. It does not have an independent existence. That is what is the meaning of mithya. If a thing does not independently exist, it is mithya. Now show me one thing in the world which has independent existence. Everything exists depending upon something else. How do you exist? I depend on my father-in-law. That apart. Okay. That type of existing apart.
So Swamiji, here again, are we doing the same thing like reducing the gold to atoms
Refusing?
and here again, are we doing the same logic like we are reducing gold to atoms and molecules?
Yeah, you can use that logic. There are different logics you can use. Different paradigms of logic can be used. Then finally you'll have to say what? All that you're dealing with is nothing but a concept. Just look at it further, okay? What is it that you're dealing with? Kurta, etc., table, chair, etc., concepts, no? What is there is wood. You have made a concept that in this structure will be called a table. So what is a table? Flat top and minimum one leg. Correct? But nowadays your table without leg. This whole thing is a block. Minimum one leg, because you go to an Irani restaurant, you will see all those round tables, only one central leg.
Swamiji, technically science is only one step away, no? They reach till the subatomic particle. But then means they do accept matter and energy. But they don't come to the final end of matter to consciousness.
As of now, they are not, and the way that approach, the paradigm is, it is not possible. Because you want a subject-object relationship. And the final step does not have subject-object relationship. Science, by its very definition, needs to keep the subject-object relationship. Because you have to objectify everything. And that's why only in Vedanta you have knowing without objectifying. And there's only one thing like that, you, I the consciousness, I know myself without objecting myself. No? When you say I am a man, woman, you are objectified. I am fat, short, tall, thin, objectified. When I say I am nothing but my energy, objectified. I am nothing but my bundle of emotions, etc., objectified. I am nothing but my intellectual self, ideas, thoughts, etc., objectified. I am ignorant, objectified. I am aware of the whole thing. What are you objectifying?
Your mental condition.
Not you. Everywhere else you are objectifying what you thought was you. Now here what are you objectifying? Everything other than you. So all that you objectify is not you. But you remain as the one who objectified everything. Therefore we give it a name, Sakshi.
But is aware not a objectification?
You go on. What do you do to know I am? To know this phone is, you have to objectify it, right? To know I am, do you need to think? You don't need a thought. Without the thought, I am is there. Without a means of knowledge, you know I am. In fact, only if I am is self-established, can I use my thinking, etc., to know something. So I am should be self-established, and it is self-established. Correct. It can be looked upon as a superset. That which includes everything into it. Yeah. Therefore cannot be objectified. Therefore, I, non-conceptual, non-objectifiable, non-conceptual. That means what? Everything that you deal with is conceptual. Other than you, your whole life is based on what? Mithya. You look at your own life. Tell me what is permanently there in your life. What is there permanent? सब आने जाने वाले. Everything comes and goes, no? What is permanent? Even if you are people who can't think of an existence independent of your partner. One man grew up there, a boy grew up here, one woman grew up somewhere else as a girl. Somewhere they met, either through friends or by chance or through parents or nowadays through dating apps. Somewhere is some nimitta to meet. Then he went round and round the fire. So now we are married. 7 जन्म के लिए. Finite number, ना? 7 जन्म के लिए बोर नहीं होगा क्या? Yeah, I know. All the married people will tell each other, no. I'll never get bored. 7 जन्म. रेवा दे. We know. So that is the other thing is, what is constant? What is there constant? Even the disturbance is not constant, it comes and goes. I just had to mute, that's all. So what is constant in your life? Your body is not constant. जब मैं बिल्कुल बच्चा था, बहुत शरारत करता था. Kaumaram, Yauvanam, Jara, it goes through stages. Mind. What you felt in the morning is not what you feel in the evening. And knowledge, overnight things change. Ignorance gets shed. Or you discover new areas of ignorance. What is constant? Swamiji, Ishvara is constant in my life. Really? Your understanding of Ishvara, how much it has shifted from the time you were a kid to now? And how much more it is going to shift? What is constant? Unless you see Ishvara as myself. Ishvaro Ahamiti. Aham Brahmasmi, if you say, and if you understand what Brahman is about, that's only constant. Everything else aane jane. Yatayat. Comes and goes. That means what? My whole functioning life is based on Mithya. संसार स्वप्न तुल्यो ही राग द्वेषादि संकुलः. Waking world is like dream only. All raga dveshadi sankula. You like something, you don't like something, that. Yeah, or kya? See, this understanding has to really hit home. That all the thing I am doing based on Nitya. However much importance you give it to, you can give certain things more importance, certain things less importance. That's okay. That's your choice. That depends on your priorities. But that's also Mithya. Everything. All your function. All your identities. All identities are based on something or the other, isn't it? Some concepts. The nationality is the biggest thing you can think of. Most people cannot think of that. Okay. Muslims have a pan-nationalist identity. They identify with the religion, not with the nation. So that crosses nation. To have set up, then there is a lot of negativities involved in that. Without that, to be able to say Vasudeva Kutumbakam, that the whole world is one family, is difficult for most people. So that is ideal. But that has to be reached positively, not negatively through hatred and anger and fear. So to reach it positively, very, very difficult for most people. Maximum they can think of is a national identity. And that also for most people is not there. Like it happened with Sam Manekshaw, one of the finest generals we ever had. His wife's father was a doctor in Karachi. So she was going, his mother's father, okay. So she was pregnant with Sam. She was going to Karachi for a delivery. And at Bombay, she got labor pains. She got down and she delivered Sam Manekshaw in Bombay. So, 1947 partition, he became Indian. So once in an interview he said, I became an Indian by accident. So the journalist asked him, but what if you were born in Karachi and you are a Pakistani? So he joked. This was after the 1971 war. He said, then Pakistan would have won the war. Because I make the difference. And you should have seen all the politicians getting after him.
Indira Gandhi was very upset.
Yeah, Indira Gandhi was very good. She was the least patriotic anyway. All the politicians, they don't have any patriotism. They only, especially the Congress guys, and all the offshoots that came off. But they got a chance to show they are patriotic. And the guy said, it's a joke. What are you taking it so seriously? So maximum a person can think of in today's society is up to the nation. And even people who out of choice change nationality, etc., it becomes a bit nebulous. Here, there, you're trying to walk in two continents. It becomes a bit nebulous. Manageable. Yeah. But you have to be a little bit more awareful when you are doing that. Okay. So that way, then he goes further to say, okay, Vaititya is sadrishaha santaha, vitita iva lakshitaha. Vaitityam, mithyatvam, sadrishaha. Sadrisha is common, waking dream, etc. Mithyatvam is common. Okay. But vitita iva lakshita, it appears as though real. Sokale satyavad bhati. The dream in its own time appears real. The waking in its own time appears real. Both are unreal because both are not valid in each other's places. Both are not valid, na? Both are not valid in each other's times. You had a big meal and went to sleep and dreamt you are starving. You can. Or you're starving and you fainted and you had a dream that you are at a feast. Both are feasible. But the food here is not currency there. The food there is not currency here. When you wake up from that feast, you're still starving. So, vitata iva, it appears as though real. When you're going through that experience, it looks real, seems real. But really speaking, mithya. And that's what happens in the waking world also. Na? We go through experience which affects us so much. Some of the experiences leave a mark on you. So either they can traumatize you or they can help you grow. It depends on you, how you handle it, how you process that thing. How you handle, how you process. Whether they're good or bad, it doesn't matter. They can create hassles in you. Or you can use it to grow. That's your choice. That's where you matter. But in all of them, they appear real. No? If you manage to fight a cobra and subdue it, your self-esteem grows. Why? Because at that moment you took it as real. Does anybody grow after fighting the snake on the rope? You can. Growth is your perception of the situation that matters, not the situation. I am telling something which, if those boys who are men now hear it, they may get a bit upset. Took the boys out for a camp. Okay, place called Vasin. That time Vasin was all jungle. When I was going for looking for land, I still found that island that we are camped on. It was there. It is there. But that time it was a forested place. The whole area was forested. Now there's all other industries have come up. Anything. Took people for this camp. Youngsters, 7th standard, 8th standard boys. And we were 11th. There was not much difference. But he said, these characters have never been exposed to any danger in life. Okay. By the way, I have confronted my first panther there, okay, in Vasant. I was young, 16, 17-year-old. Okay. This first panther I confronted there. So, I said, these youngsters have never been to something. How will we give them an experience of danger so that they can become courageous and confident without real life? So I and a couple of people discussed this. Some of our seniors discussed this. And we told them, see, this place, there are hyenas about. There is wildlife about. So be careful that all food scrap are buried or burnt. Otherwise in the night they will come. No, the night is a scout camp, so people are keeping guard, this, that, etc. So a couple of us slipped away and started making noises in the bushes. Hyena-like sounds. Growling. Oh my God, hyenas! Then we slipped back into the camp and said, yeah, be on guard, keep your sticks ready, this, that. So all the whole everyone on guard, everything. Where are the hyenas? The hyenas are in and out of the camp. Two-legged ones. So after a couple of hours of that, I said, okay, I'm going to go and check. Okay. Sir, don't go alone. I said, no, I strapped on my knife, I have my stave in hand, I'm going. So I walked out and looked at and came back and said, no, There are no tracks, they're all gone. Now, of course, two people, guards are there, but others can go to sleep. You are right. You should see what they felt about themselves at the end of it. After that 5-day camp was over and they came home. Wow. All of them had a great confidence about themselves. Their self-esteem had grown. They confronted danger and come out. And I'm looking at them and saying, good. What we did was the right thing. There's no danger. But in their minds it was there. Na. Do you need a real experience to grow? I had understood the power of Maya even then, even though I didn't know the term Maya. World is like that, okay? But Swamiji, if the real highness, the risk is real, no? What real risk? You are neither born nor dying. Risk is there. Now shift attention. You are the consciousness. What risk? Mithya birth, Mithya dying. Where is the risk? So always you grow in through Mithya things only. Who grows? The Mithya guy grows. Consciousness doesn't grow. Consciousness doesn't become courageous. Consciousness abhayam pratishtam vindate. If you know I am consciousness, nirbhayatvam. Not courage. Nirbhaya. Neither birth nor death, both are two impostors. But Swakale Satyavad Bhati appears as though they are real. So the wise person also understands that. Say goes to a house where a death has happened. How will he be? He will empathize with the grief. No? Not say, what birth, what death. He is not going to be a grinning gorilla and say that. He will empathize with the grief. He is human. Of course he will empathize. He will empathize. Not put on. If anybody says, what birth, what death, you know it's a put on. And there are Mahatmas who do that. Put on, sure put on. So, Vitata eva lakshita. It appears as though it is real. Here he is speaking unreal. So that's why life experiences, it appears real, therefore you grow. How much will you grow? Until you know what the whole thing about is such a paradoxical thing the life is about. I want to know what is beyond all this. Like this lady who came to my class. Before coming to my class, a friend of mine had taken me there because she had lost very close people. She had lost. I was speaking to her, consoling this, that, seeing in what way I can help her. So, after a few sessions of that, which I guess it did help, she said, Swamiji, all this is but is only consoling now. I want to know what is beyond life and death. I said, good, come to my classes. They started coming to the classes regular, and it's got a good understanding. So, all these life experiences are meant for you to call the bluff of life. Ishvara is playing a prank on you. Ishvara is playing a prank on you and you are taking it seriously and lost in that prank. If you ask those students who came with me to their camp and tell them, hey, that's all, Swamiji told us he had just created all these things. Of course not. He's bluffing you. It was real. It's real? Yeah, because I came back with a scratch on my arm. I had a narrow escape. See? I created the scratch myself. All it took is a local thorn to create a scratch. What all you do to help people grow? बात इतना ही है. All growth is in the mithya world only. In Satyam is limitlessness. What growth we are talking about? But you need this life to grow and understand the truth. Then you understand all this is mithya. यार कुछ नहीं है. Yeah, that's true. You can go through pain or grow through pain. It's your choice. Yeah. Okay. Then he says, nahi yaar. Waking is still real, na? Not like dream. Waking is not like dream. Waking is still real. It's not. Why? Look at the next verse. Saprayojanata tesham swapne vipratipadyate tasmat adavantena mityeva khalu te smrita. Saprayojanata. One of the things of reality is what? Usefulness. The snake on the rope is useless. I can't draw venom from its fangs. Rope has got some usefulness. When things don't go right, I can put it around my neck. Very useful. Okay. So rope has got some usefulness. Snake doesn't have. And the world is full of useful things. Saprayojanam. He says, Saprayojanata tesham swapne vipratipadyate. It's all contradicted in dream. What is here useful here is not useful there. Rich man goes to sleep, dreams he has lost all his riches. So his bank account, the money he has got in his locker, what use is that in his dream? No use. Even in this lifetime it can become useless. That's a different thing. This guy is carrying a few $1 million in diamonds and his plane crashes in the desert. Okay? And he's trying to cross to find some civilization. He's thirsty. He wants water. What is the use of all his millions of dollars he's got in his bag? That's why that famous expression comes, no? A sword, half my kingdom for a sword. The king is, the sword broke in his hand. Now he wants a sword to continue the war. I'm willing to give half my kingdom, give me a sword. Yeah, your thing has become useless. So, saprayojanata. Negated. Okay. Swapne vipratipadyate. Tasma, therefore what? Adavantatvena. Your prayojanam. The usefulness of your waking stuff is only here in waking, and waking has a beginning and has an end. Waking begins when you wake up from sleep. And when you go back to sleep, it ends. Therefore, here also, he says, Adavantatvena, it is a beginning and an end. Therefore, mithya vaitatyam. Mithyateva khalu te smrita. Anything that has a beginning and an end is mithya. So, remember in the group I put up various definitions of mithya. One of them is this. Yat trikalena tishtati, that which does not exist in all periods of time. In other words, something that begins and ends. It is not timeless, it is time bound. Anything that is time bound becomes mithya. Anything conditioned by time and space is mithya. Anything which exists depending upon something else is mithya. These two definitions are good enough for everything actually. The whole world will turn out to be mithya. Everything you do is mithya. Your body is mithya. And whatever you do with this is with this body, no? What you hold as dear, mithya. It's important now. How many things you held as important as a child? All of them, you don't even remember all the things you held as important. The toys, the dolls, the soft toys, marbles, tops. Kidhar? All that was important to you. As you grew up, your playthings. Then the cricket bat, etc., became more important. Playthings. A time comes when your business and your work also becomes enough, yaar, bahut ho gaya. Some people are workaholics, they are forced into retirement, that's a different thing. But many people I have heard something, enough of this work, now I want to do something different. I want to move on. Correct? It's time now. Move on. So what you held important is no more important. No? Mithyatvam. Mithyatvam of things. Certain things to let go and move on is difficult. Parenting roles, etc. No. Child is an adult now. Move on. Parent child no more. Except for old time's sake. Guru Sishya, no more except for old time's sake. Yeah. Except for old time's sake. No more Guru Sishya. Mithya. So that may seem contradictory, but that is the nature of life. Like I will say, like somebody asked me, Swamiji, आप बोला था आपको गुरु सेवा करना है. That's why you didn't take up this post because you have to do guru. I said, yeah, correct. लेकिन अभी तो आपके गुरु की समाधि हो गया. Now you can do this. Now I don't want to do that, and I seriously mean it. I said, Guru Seva does not stop with the Guru Samadhi. It stops with my Samadhi. In one way it is true. And the other way, relationship is mithya, na? The Guru is not teaching you to become Guru for life. Nahi chahiye. Tat tvamasi. The same reality I am, you also are. You recognize that. I've never seen this more than in Puja Swamiji. The moment you are passed out, and especially if you have taken sannyasa, etc., after that, he will call you Swamiji. He won't call you by your name. Amen. It is humbling for all of us. One or two of us are becoming cocky about it. Those are the people who are not understood. They don't deserve to wear their robes. But the other, you are humbled by it, that your Guru is calling you. But that's what he wants to convey. The sannyasa itself is Natvam Guru Naham Sishya. Chidananda Rupo Shivoham Shivoham. Finished. That's it. So every role is mithya. Including the most sacred of them all. It's mithya. That you have to recognize. That's why some, like the Kanchi Acharya said once, very well. Said you can have Advaita Bhava to everyone, but don't have it with respect to Guru and Ishvara. But without having it to Ishvara, how can you say? What he meant was continue that worship, etc. Even in spite of knowing the truth, which is fine. Continue the Guru Sishya relationship in spite of knowing the truth, which is fine. which all of us do. I was not saying the seva exists not with his ends, not with his samadhi, my samadhi. Correct. Why do you think I'm putting up the ashram? Seva for him. Because he wanted it, it will be done. Yeah. And it's necessary. It's a need that is there in the society. So done. That's it. There is a sacredness and it is mithya also. Mithya, what else? So, to be clear of the mithyatvam, only then, unless you can see certain things relatively as mithya, you will never understand what is satyam. Therefore, at least one needs to understand mithyatvam enough to prevent or to loosen the hold of the world on your mind. And the hold on the mind is very, very strong. This is apavada. Adhyaropa apavada nyayena guru upadishati. The guru teaches by the principle of adhyaropa apavada, negation of the superimposition. This is all part of the negation. What is negation? Mithyatvam of the world. Mithyatva nishchaya is the negation. Apa is apavada. Part of that. So a lot of things we hold sacred. It's good to hold certain things sacred in your life. I am not saying no to that. That is why, all right, when you take sannyasa, even the choti is cut off. That means your responsibility to Ishvara, Guru and the Shastra, even that is gone. And what do you do after that? After that you are given your name, etc. Then you are introduced to the society, everyone comes and touches your feet. Why? Because Tivra Vairagya, even the senior monks will come and touch your feet. Those who have taken sannyasa before you. Senior kidhar hai? Trikala atitam, therefore where is senior, junior? Then what do you do after that? Do a pada puja for your guru. You're sannyasi and all that, theek hai, but guru is guru, all right? Yeah, so you go and do a pada puja for the guru. First pada puja you do is for your guru. Probably after that you are not going to do pada puja for anyone. Rare. You may do for your guru again sometime, but not anything else. You receive a lot of pada puja, but hey, don't forget your guru. So certain things you hold as sacred. And at the same time you understand the mithyatvam. This is what is important in life. Not to understand mithya and ignore everything. That doesn't work. To understand the sacredness and the mithyatvam of the thing. But Swamiji, isn't that paradoxical? So what can I do? If the reality is like my girlfriend, make it paradoxical. What can I do about it? It's paradoxical. That's the nature of reality. What do you do about it? Nothing, you accept it and deal with it. Life is paradoxical, isn't it? That's why Kabira said that. Ha insan ke bhat bhakti. Because the bad lord of the human beings. Khud khuda hokar, he is the Lord himself. Banda nazar aate hain. He takes himself as a bound person. Hey Malik, tere bande ho hum. All that. You have bhajans like that, no? You all have heard that. Yeah. And some people entrench that. There are philosophies here. You're dasasya, 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 dasa. You will say that also. Those who are in the south may have heard all these. The schools of thought, they say, no, you're dasa. Dasa. Ishvara's dasa is all people like Garuda, Hanuman, etc. Where are you? Dasasya, 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 dasa. Multiple times more. But what did the prime dasa Hanumanji say? Deha drishtya to dasoham. From the standpoint of the body, I am your messenger, your doer, your servant. I'll do whatever you want. Jiva drishtva tu mamshakaha. Standpoint of view, Jiva, I'm part of you. You're the totality, I'm part. Vastu buddhya, from the standpoint of reality, tumevaham. So can you see? That is understanding. Functioning is dasavat. He chose to do that. That's his choice. So there is the sacredness of the knowledge and the mithyatum of everything else. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? The paradoxical nature of the thing. It's important to understand that. Otherwise you will be stuck. Either with cynicism or with irreverence or with God knows what. Mooringless. So you have to have the thing that is sacred at the same time is mithya. Only then the whole thing will work. And if you can do that, no issues. You can hold the infinity in a grain of sand and eternity in a moment. That's how it will be. Okay. So, good place to stop. We will meet again after 2 weeks. Okay. Om Tat Sat.